What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into the voice crack again. The real MVPs, that's what I meant to do, where it's kind of a curve, but I peak it. Welcome into MVP Sports Live. I am joined with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Because, Dave, guess what today is?
Friday?
Football Friday, Dave. Football Friday. Not even a regular Football Friday. It is Playoff Friday, Dave. We have playoff games on the docket. Yes, technically, we already made the picks. If you listen to Monday's show, you know who we're going to have winning, but we didn't really go in depth about the games. We've got 6 games, the most wild card games we've ever had in a weekend. And honestly, some of the lines, Dave, have changed since we made our picks on Monday. Also,
why they would have changed.
Also, there are, dude, the fucking bear line, I'll get into it, but like that bear line makes me fucking think what I'd want to do for that spread. But we're talking today. We got a little bit of NBA at the beginning because something big happened yesterday that we have to talk about. Then we're going to talk about basically football the rest of the way. Todd McShay came out with a mock draft. There are things in it that we would like to react to. And then we're going to do Wet Boys and then make our picks for the playoff weekend and get us out of here into the weekend of 6 playoff games in the NFL. Before we get into everything, though, quick housekeeping. Number 1, if you're not in the Discord already, join it down below. It's the best community in the internet. Link, like I said, down below, or exclamation Discord into Twitch. Get you that link. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Pat Hill. You can do that, link down below, or exclamation Patreon into Twitch chat as well, where we are live, twitch.tv/MVPvids, Monday through Friday. We're also on YouTube, though, at MVP Entertainment, so go ahead, make sure you're tuned into both places so you never miss anything from MVP. And Dave, first thing we're talking about is the NBA. I know I said it's Football Friday, but the NBA had some news last night, and this all circled, like basically snowballed, I should say, from the Philadelphia 76ers and what happened with their team. As it was learned after their game that their entire team would be quarantining in Brooklyn, I want to say. They were playing the Nets. They were quarantining in New York because Seth Curry tested positive for COVID. So first off, T's and P's to Seth Curry, best Curry, that he recovers from this. But also it raised some questions because Seth Curry was on the bench during the game. There were many people asking, well, if he took a test and we didn't get the results back, why the fuck was he even out there on the bench? He was sitting next to Joel Embiid, who said he is going to stay away now from his family for 2 weeks because he has a 3-month at home and doesn't want to complicate things with his young baby. But many people are now throwing shade at the NBA of how dare you let this happen? Is it the fault on the NBA? Is the fault on the 76ers? Is this also, some people are like, I expected this to happen because we're no longer in a bubble. Dave, I want to ask you, where should we be looking here? Should it be on the 76ers? Should it have been, like I said, where I had the thought of, well, if I'm Doc Rivers, there's no way he should have been on the bench. And I know that I was talking to Jake at the time. Jake's like, yeah, but he might not. I'm like, dude, you're the head coach. I assume head coaches know, okay, this is the players that had tests today or had taken tests today. And if you don't know, then you're not doing your job as a head coach. You're not micromanaging everything you have to.
Everyone on the team is taking daily tests. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's not a matter of like, oh, well, he might be high risk. Well, everyone takes one.
If you didn't get a result back, the head coach should know, okay, these players are waiting on tests. They shouldn't even be on the bench.
I think it's
no. I'm saying like because the result obviously was not back yet for Seth.
I don't think it was back for anyone. I think it's a team-wide test. From my understanding of the protocols, they normally do is it's a team-wide test. Everyone on the team takes a test. They get the results back at the same time every day, depending on the location where they are being tested from. So some days it might be earlier in the day. Some days it might be later in the day.
Then the question is this. I'll ask this. Why are we playing games if there's inconclusive tests out there? I mean, there's not a perfect system, but why are we playing games if an entire team is like, well, we took tests, but we don't know. One of us could be positive.
It's the same thing that happened to Des Bryant. Remember Des was out there? Everybody he was on the field just dapping up his fucking fellow players. He was out there talking to some former Cowboys. Or I'm sorry, the former Cowboys talking to a current Cowboys.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like an hour before the game where he got yanked off the field with the "Oh no, you shouldn't be there."
Yeah, and then we found out it was inconclusive.
Yeah, it's just poor timing. I mean, I don't think anyone's to blame here. I think this is the new norm. I don't think you can say it's bad coaching. I don't think you can say it's anything about that. I think that JD is exactly right. It is all about the money. That's why the NBA will continue to push forward, the same as Roger Goodell has done for the NFL. The answer is forwards, not backwards. I really want to go full Simpsons with that one. Not going to. The point is that at the end of the day, like, you can't protect everyone unless you're in a bubble. The NBA chose to do a normal season out in the open. They will deal with consequences the same way that the MLB did, the same way that the NFL has done. And they will end up with, I think multiple nights of multiple guys being out. And that is the new normal of the NBA.
Well, and that kind of raises the question, because to me, does it sound robotic?
There we go.
Does it sound robotic or normal?
Normal.
Okay. Normal. It unplugged as I went to move it closer to my face, and I'm like, shit, now I got to re-unplug it because or else I get that robotic feel. My question is, and I don't know the answer to this, and of course I hate questions that we don't know the answers to. Sure. Because the league came out earlier this week and was like, dude, we're going to toughen down on the protocol, basically. We're toughening down on these rules to make sure we limit the spread of things. And the one thing I was confused with also is people were like, oh, well, he was next to Joel Embiid on the bench. I was like, yeah, but don't they have like the chair spread out to where like
they're wearing masks? Supposed to be. They're
supposed to be wearing a mask. Should be. I thought those chairs were spread out on the bench so that everyone wasn't close.
They don't do that now.
It's just, to me, it's like, is this on the team or is this on the NBA? And what more can the NBA do besides canceling games? Besides saying, fuck it, we're shutting it down, which won't happen unless there's like a huge outbreak of COVID.
I think that we're just going to keep plowing forward as is. The only thing they could do is delay games until tests are received, but there's no way they can guarantee tests will be all returned by X hour of the day, because each day different volume is handled through different locations. So there's never going to be a guarantee that you're going to get your test results by 6 p.m. Central or Eastern or whatever it is in order to play that game on time. So it's a bad answer, but we're already making a bad decision by playing games not in a bubble. So you're living with consequences of that. It's not anyone's fault. It was a totally optional thing. Hey, we want to play games. We don't want to be in the bubble. Clearly, the players were very strong. The players' union was like, there's no way we're going back in there. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I never want to do that again.
I mean, I'm going to throw this out there. It's obviously not going to happen. But should the league do this? Where another thing I think of is like, okay, Seth Curry tests positive.
Correct.
Where did he get that? Like, I know the whole contact tracing.
Contact. You keep contract. Every time.
I think it's like contract because you're contracting the virus. That's what
that's easy.
Whatever. Tracing. The tracing of it. Yep. The thing I ponder is where did he contract it? Because the thought that I have that, yet again, would players like this? No, but fuck it. I don't care what players like. If you're going to play the season, we're going to basically do whatever we have to do to make sure people don't get COVID. If you don't like it, don't play this year. Skip out on a paycheck. But yet again, that's just how I look at it. Yep. Maybe the NBA should do all right because of some of these cases. We're going into the team. Basically, you go from the plane to the hotel to the facility. Nobody goes out.
No freedom.
Basically, like, you can't, like, it's basically like a bubble, but movable to where it's like, no going to restaurants, no, because that to me right away, if you did that, that would limiting chances of players getting the virus. Dave, like I said, I know it's not going to happen. But I'm going to throw it out there because that's what the NBA I think should do. Like, and it's one of those to where if players don't like it, and I know you were like, oh, take away their freedom. Well, fuck it. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play this game anyways. We know this season's going to do it.
Contracts.
I'm just saying, like, if you don't want people to get COVID, Like, that should be the number one on people's minds. Because, like McAfee says, Dave, it takes all of us. It takes the players, it takes everyone.
It really does. But I think the point is they don't want to get COVID. So I think all the players who respect what's going on in the country are doing what they can to protect themselves from catching disease. And that's my point is if you care about it, you're going to do what it takes for you. Yeah. And as a teammate, you hope your teammates are doing the same thing. Obviously, it didn't sneak out of nowhere. So you have to figure out what happened. Obviously, that contact tracing, like you said, very important. I don't think that all the players, and I hate to say it, but I know several players have already come out and like as COVID deniers or whatever, anti-vax. Like there's a lot of interesting opinions in the NBA.
Well, there's interesting opinions in the world too. Like,
well, that too. But I mean, like MPJ is someone who I don't know if you followed his situation.
Oh yeah, he is. He's a interesting one, I will say.
And he just entered his second quarantine period.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did he get a second quarantine period? Most people would ask. But the answer is pretty fucking obvious.
Well, and it kind of brings me back to yet again. I am coming at the example I'm going to use is an example that I have seen in my life as a teacher, and I have seen basically in our lifetime as going to school. And I believe the same thing can be kind of assessed here, where not everyone is doing the wrong thing. There are players out there that are probably doing the right thing. And yes, as an adult, you're sitting there going, well, I hope my teammate is responsible enough to do the right thing. But let's be honest, like you said, there's people that are like, oh, this ain't real. Like, and then they're just going to go live their life. It takes a few bad apples to ruin the whole lot for everyone, to where it's like, yep, I know a couple of you guys are doing what you're supposed to, but because of this select group that is not going to do what they're supposed to, that's why we have to basically infringe on this.
I heard a similar argument this summer about law enforcement. I don't know. That's an interesting take, Ricky. A few bad apples.
What do you mean? Like
a few bad apples?
No, but like, what are you talking? Like, you're dancing around the subject, and I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
I'm being an asshole about bad cops.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, for the subsection of players that are not going to do what they have to do.
I think as a teammate, you have to know who on your team respects the shit and who doesn't, and you either have to pressure them into being a responsible fucking adult.
Then what happens?
You create a barrier for yourself.
Okay, what happens if this is the case? We'll use Michael Porter Jr. as an example. Yeah. He does not believe in it. He's like, whatever, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Let's say you're Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and you pressure him. And he goes, nah, fuck.
Front office of the team.
Or if he goes, nah, fuck off, bro. I'm going to do what you like. Basically, what do you do then if the teammate's like, nah, fuck off? You go to the front office of the team
and go to the players' union. Like, they have to use those resources.
That's the thing. Like, what are they going to do that won't cause a rift to where it's like, then Michael Porter has a problem with the players' union to where basically what I'm saying is the thing that I said that you were like, oh, it'll create a rift between the players.
His teammates.
Yeah.
Then they shouldn't care about a rift.
Then on the other side, should the NBA not care about a rift because it's like, well, we're just doing what we need to do to protect our players?
I think they.
I know it's trickier because there's negotiations between players in the league. There's no negotiation between Michael Porter and the players' union.
Correct. So I think that's a situation where the players' union needs to step in on behalf of all of the other players who have a fucking brain and be like, look, if you're not going to follow these rules, like, we have to have some sense of like community. You're all exposed in the same group. Like, there's so much contact time between you. You all have to be taking care of yourselves. You can't go out without masks. You can't go party. You can't do this dumb shit. Otherwise, like, the team should have the option to continually put you into like quarantine. I'm
like a special COVID list of like
a COVID list where it's like you're not going to play. You will be in quarantine, and that is indefinite. Like they can.
It's like an IR for COVID.
Yes, and I would like to have a fine there as well. Like if you're perhaps negligent. I'm not saying it's intentional that you're catching disease, but putting yourself and your teammates at risk is a ridiculous thing. I mean,
and yet again, this is tricky stuff, but I would go this far of if you're going to be one of the guys that goes against protocol and we put you on this list and we put you into quarantine because of something that you put yourself into and are going to harm the team because you're doing it on purpose, I would say don't even fine. Like, fines are okay, but I wouldn't fine them. I just take away game checks. All right, you're missing these games because your own actions. You miss these game checks. Those are your fines. Is we're finding you the exact amount of a game check per game.
The problem is, I agree with you, but it's how do you prove that's like intentional negligence? Mm-hmm. It's a very hard case to make sometimes. Not all players are outspoken about things. So like Michael Porter Jr., we know because he has talked to everyone who will listen to him. But other guys who might have their own beliefs might not mention it, and they might catch COVID. And how do you know, like, how do you make those cases to punish these guys over those guys? It's a very gray area, and obviously something we hope we don't have to deal with after this year in the NBA. But I think there does need to be something better in place to protect the players who are playing still. I don't think there's any real changes the NBA can enact outside of the extra amount of like quarantine time players need to have for contact within like a close area of someone who has it. But it's very tough to give a solid answer on that because again, everything is so legal, you know, like there's just contracts, there's agreements, there's all this bullshit that gets in the way. And you can't, like I said, you can't take away the freedom to have a life outside of the NBA.
Yeah,
but you can say if you'd like to continue playing in the NBA, you shouldn't expose yourself to this stuff. You shouldn't do these things.
Yeah, I'm on the side of I think it's in the hands of the league where the league has to do something, maybe not exactly as drastic as I said, where it's like you say take away freedoms. I look at more as if you're not going to do the right thing, we're basically going to be mommy and daddy and make sure that the players that are doing what they're supposed to do are safe because that's the number one priority of this season.
And again, it's funny because it's like we expect more out of the NBA than America.
Yeah. I mean, yet again, this could be said for America too.
No, but it's sad that we're having this conversation. And I literally was just like, yeah, I wish we could do that in America, though. Like, as a nation, we can't even pull that kind of shit off. So, like,
let's be honest, though. Adam Silver
control the situation better.
The difference with that is I feel like with the NBA and with Adam Silver, there's no kind of like with America right now and Trump. Over the last 4 years, it was like, yeah, well, we should do. At first, it was like, we should do this, we should do that. Why aren't we doing this? After a while, it was like, we should. Fuck it, ain't gonna happen anyways. Like it's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a defeatist, where it's like it ain't gonna fucking matter. Like with the NBA though, I see Adam Silver as somebody who we don't feel that way with, where he should be somebody who is going to put player health first, even if the league has to take a drastic action, because number one should be safety of the players.
I agree.
Because like we saw in the NFL. There were a couple players where it's like, fuck it, I'm not playing this year. Now, we haven't heard about that much in the NBA. I don't think there's any players that came out and said, fuck it, I'm not playing this year. A couple guys
didn't go to the bubble. I don't know if there are any players who waived off this year.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and also with the vaccine and like players probably, that's coming sooner or later.
We're this fucking close.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, did I tell you what one of a doctor that they had on CNN suggested?
What?
That people between the ages of 18 to 55, in order to get more people vaccinated, basically instead of giving 18-year-olds to 55-year-olds a full dosage, give them a half a dose so we can hit more people. Yeah, that's the face I made, Dave. I was a little confused by that.
What does that do for us?
Apparently it can get, instead of using one vaccine dose to vaccine one person, you can use half of it to get two people vaccinated.
But then we still need to get multiple shots anyway in the long term to get fully
So basically, we would be getting 2 shots but 1 dose.
Right one now, you're dose. Like the one vaccine that's out right now in the Chicagoland area. Different areas might have different. It is 2 shots. In order to get full immunity, it's 1 shot, and then you have to wait a month, and then the second shot. But that's already the case.
But it's 2 full doses. This guy wants it to be 2 shots, but you're only getting 1 full dose in 2 shots. To vaccinate more people, Dave.
fucking geniuses, right?
I know. Like, scientists come up with this shit, and then the doctors who we thought knew their shit.
No, doctors do know their shit.
This doctor apparently doesn't.
There are lots of doctors who have different opinions, whose areas of expertise may not be in immunology. I don't even know what that is.
Whatever. The immune system.
Yes. Like there's a lot of doctorates out there. That's all I'm saying.
A lot of doctorates out there. What are you a doctor in? I'm a doctor in fucking what? I'm a doctor of art.
No, don't do the Joe Biden conversation. You're not a political show, Ricky. We've already made this too political.
I was just trying. No. I was just trying to think of like what was one of those majors in college that football players took.
Stay in your lane. You're a communications. You're a doctorate in communications.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the easy major that was taken. Communications was yet again.
That is easy, what most people in sports go into.
Or sports management. Or business, Dave, business. But I can't, like, a doctor in business, it's like, that's actually a good degree to have. Let's move on, though, Dave. Let's get into some football. We got some draft stuff going on, and I kind of split this into some conversations. Todd McShay came out with his mock draft. My mock draft is coming out on Monday. For those of you out there, I will say it again. I said at the beginning of that video. Reason why it wasn't this Monday is because mock drafts go a week early to the patrons. So the patrons get it this week, $10 and above, gold and platinum members. On Monday, everyone will get it.
Makes sense.
You'll see my thoughts on the draft following the week 17 on Monday. But Dave, there were some interesting things here. First thing I want to hit, quarterbacks. Because yet again, we're seeing a rise in quarterbacks. Like, we had talked earlier this week. You said that the growing just thought is that 5 quarterbacks will go in the first round. I wanted to list where Todd McShay has his, kind of talk about what we think. He's got Trevor Lawrence at number 1 to Jacksonville.
Yep.
Duh, no brainer. He's got Zach Wilson at 4 to the Falcons. Then he has Trey Lance at number 19.
Going to someone.
Fields at 15. I thought I flipped him. Fields at 15 going to the Patois. Lance at 19 going to the Washington football team. And then you got Mac Jones going at 21 to the Colts. There's a couple of things I know I want to hit here, but the first one, Dave, we knew that most people are starting to think of Wilson as the second quarterback over Justin Fields. In your mind, what would you say if you like seeing Justin Fields all the way at 15? Meaning teams like the Lions, teams like the Broncos people have linked, the Panthers, maybe the Cowboys because of Jerry Jones, like all these teams in the top 10 that could go quarterback, passing on a quarterback, and him falling all the way to the Patriots. I kind of see that as I don't know if he falls that far.
I tend to agree with you on that front because there are so many teams looking for that future quarterback to take them, to the promised land. But at the same time, you do have to admit that there are a lot of quarterbacks being moved around this offseason. Like we expect to see about 5 starting caliber quarterbacks, even some guys who may get a chance to start. Being free agents or being cut by their teams or being tradable. So there are just a lot of names floating in the air. So I think it's playing it safe, thinking that some of those teams are going to land someone like a Matt Stafford. Maybe somebody will try to pick up the final year of Phillip Rivers' NFL career. Maybe Cam Newton starts somewhere. Maybe famous Jameis is going. There are enough guys out there who could be available. Jimmy Garoppolo is someone who we know the injury's there, but we do know that someone's probably still pretty high on him. Maybe someone by the name of Belichick. I don't know, just tossing out names here. But I think that's the balance that you have to weigh out, like who wants a young kid to grow with and bring up a franchise, or who's looking for an established Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers, Cam Newton even, kind of guy who can step into a team. And you would hope, have a leg up on the competition, be able to just hit the ground running. So Am I surprised? Yes, but at the same time, I'm like, does he know something that we don't about these teams? Like, is there a situation where he's already heard rumors coming out of the front offices being like, we're looking to develop or we're looking to compete? Because I think some of those teams are maybe a quarterback away from competing, but I wouldn't be surprised if they chose the development route to also.
Well, and my first thought from this, before I read what Todd McShay put,
I've not read anything, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm going to read the first part because it kind of debunks a little bit.
Great.
To where...
Glad you let me go on a 3-minute
rant. Not debunking what you said, just debunking of why did he go all the way to 15, to where this is kind of my thought of, and this thought of a mock draft has changed, where before last year, I was always on the side of, you know what, do a mock draft, don't do trades because you get too far away from things and
you get disattached from reality.
Like a team wants to come in, a fan wants to come in and know, okay, my team's picking it too. What are we going to do?
Thank you.
But the more I thought about it, and like with the NFL, quarterbacks are the reason for this, is in my mind, I was like, there's no way Fields falls to 15. Because somebody, if he falls far enough, like if he gets past 5, somebody's trading up for him. There will be someone. Now, will it be the Patriots? Probably not. Patriots don't trade up. Maybe that changes.
A lot of this will depend on how he does come the championship.
Monday. Yeah, come Monday. We got the big championship game. And Todd McShay does say, okay, it's time. And what a terrific outcome this would be for Coach Bill Belichick. Fields fell to number 15 here because we aren't doing trades in this mock. There's a little chance he makes it this far down the board, especially after a 6-touchdown performance in the Sugar Bowl quieted the big game concerns. Someone will move up to get him. And like for me, that's why in my mock I did trades, because I'm like, you know what, someone's going to move up for these young guys. But like you were saying, who's going to be that team? Because to me, I do have a feeling, I will say it again, of course, he has Penny Sewell at 2 because there were no trades. I think the Jets are either going to do that or they're trading the pick. One of the two. Yet again, we got to see who they hire as their new. Like that's the thing. The Jets have to do hirings. The Lions have to do hirings. Even the Falcons have to do hirings. Like once they get their some for them GMs, some of them are coaches. Once that's in place, it's like, okay, then we can kind of decide, are they going to move on from a Stafford? Because, like, for me, I look at it and I go, if I'm the Broncos, I'm not taking a quarterback because although people want to jump on the Drew Lock hate train,
I'm not there yet.
I think Drew Lock is good enough to be their quarterback next year. Let a healthy Von Miller and a healthy Bradley Chubb come back next year to see what that does.
When they're not like half staffed. I'm with you on that one. I 100% agree.
The Cowboys would be stupid to do it. Jerry Jones just pay fucking Dak Prescott.
I think you heard what came out though. Is he like Dak holds the cards here?
Yeah.
If Dak wants to play with us, he can. But if Dak wants to go somewhere else, he's gonna go somewhere. We can't stop that.
Wasn't it about years? Dak wants a shorter deal.
Yeah. Correct. So he can sign for the next cap. Basically, it's the whole
money.
LeBron James kind of shenanigans of why LeBron's never going to sign a long max deal because he can re-up max deal over and over and over and always be at the top and not get stuck in a situation where you're underpaid even though you're the best player.
Yeah. The 49ers, too, they're a team to me where if they are going to get a new quarterback, it is either going to be Matthew Stafford or Matt Ryan in my mind. Probably Matt Stafford. Because both of those quarterbacks would fit with Shanahan.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm throwing Matt Ryan out there is because they had success before. Maybe Kyle Shanahan's like, yo, let's go get him. I know the cap is a problem with his contract, but we want to win. We were a year away from a Super Bowl before injuries riddled us this season. I don't like Fields. I don't think goes that far. The only team I didn't mention the top were the Panthers. And that's because if Fields is there at 8, I think they may take him.
You think Fields is a better player or a better future than 2 gloves?
Well, yes.
That's all they have to ask themselves.
Yes.
If you feel like Fields can be a better quarterback in X years than Teddy Bridgewater, then you absolutely should take him.
It would be a hard decision.
I don't think you have to wait on it.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's a very clear one that like if I think that Fields could be a better quarterback than Teddy Two Gloves, I'm pulling the trigger. I've got a young running back who is getting paid and unfortunately got his first injury of his career, like the worst possible time. But outside of that, go get your guy. Teddy Bridgewater, I feel bad because he's stuck in no man's land. He proved himself on the Saints. He looked great. He got put on a team with the Panthers this year who lost their star player. Like he's out there playing, with Mike Davis. No disrespect to Mike Davis, but I'll disrespect Mike Davis compared to Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. So he was put in a very tough situation where the entire offense was pivoted off of the scheduled plan of Christian McCaffrey to we have to make this work somehow without him. He's not bad, but he's also not great. Maybe I think I would take Fields over him.
Yeah. Also, Eric says I would go Deshaun Watson. Forget the rest. I forgot we talked about it yesterday. He may be in the running for tradable QBs.
That one we'll have to wait and see because like we heard Deshaun could be demanding his way out, but we don't know the conversation's going to happen.
Dave, I will say Lombardi on I think it was yesterday's Hamadan. Said the same thing you said, where they asked him about the Mike Casario GM hire, and he said the same thing you said of like he's going to have a conversation with Deshaun Watson to be like, hey, calm down. Like, I want to help this team win. We don't have to trade you. Like, the culture is good. I want to set up a good culture.
Exactly.
My only problem with the Panthers is I feel like Justin Fields would be a good pick because if he ends up being better than Teddy, you win. You got the better quarterback. Also, let's say in 2 years, because there is a potential out for Teddy, if he sits behind him for a year and you go, dude, Teddy's the guy, no way Fields is beating him, you could still trade Fields and get a good recoup for him because he's a top prospect at that point. But the problem is if Kyle Pitts is there or Micah Parsons falls that far, that is going to be a hard choice for me of do we go with the future because we might be a little iffy on Teddy, or go get Teddy a pass catcher in Pitts, or go get us a linebacker who could be the next kind of like leader of our linebacker like Luke Kuechly.
Our next Luke Kuechly.
Basically.
First off, comment section, you can go ahead and address that.
What, with the Houston
Eric
culture?
says the culture is not good in Houston.
It's not good, but I mean, it all starts with the GM. Like, it all starts with Casario and who he hires. Like, you can't say, like, Casario coming in, you can't say, oh, the culture shit, it's your fault. He wasn't even there. Like, it's his job to...
Like, you can't say that, like, the culture's good, stay.
No, like, but it's not a culture is good.
Around you.
Bingo.
That's what you have to tell. You have to sell him on.
That's what
we're going to make this happen. You and me are going to sit down, and we're going to make this work between us. So
kind of form that alliance between you and Watson. Say, we are going to make this a better place, and I can't make... I would harp on I can't make this a better place without you. Make him feel important. But at the same time, would something like that work... Or would Watson just be like, yeah, I fucking heard that before. Fucking show me.
That'd be tough to know. But back to your actual point.
It would just be depending on what's there, too, for the Panthers.
I don't think that you can say, oh, well, even if Haskins isn't... I'm sorry, Fields. I was going to Haskins.
Yeah.
Even if Fields isn't great, you could always look to trade him. Look what happened to Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, true.
That is, I think that's fresh in people's minds of like...
I think they're different. They're different, though.
I agree completely. I've seen nothing on paper that Fields has attitude issues. I've seen nothing on paper that he's not a grinder. He's not working for his game. He's not always looking to improve it.
Yeah.
Just because they're both Ohio State prospects, players, alumni now, I don't think they're the same person. I think they are dramatically different, gifted athletes, and they definitely play differently. So I'm not concerned about that, but I would asterisk the idea that their worst case scenario, you can always look to trade him as a former second overall pick, third overall pick, whatever he'll end up going as, kind of a situation. But I do like the idea of adding in someone as talented as Pitts. I will almost never pass up on Pitts, Ricky. I think he's probably number, what do you say, like 6, 5 on people's?
He would be 6 or 7 at the lowest.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's the next great fucking pass catching tight end. Yeah. He does it all, but he's the next pass guard.
There was just yet again, and when my mock comes out on Monday, there were several times where I was like, Pitts could go here. But yet again, it's a decision between Pitts and something else.
5, yeah. You go at 6.
Yet again, trades are going to fuck up this too. Where guys like trades for quarterbacks, Pitts, Parsons, and Pitts and Parsons will be the two guys that are heavily affected from trades for quarterbacks early on. The only thing with quarterbacks I wanted to mention was the 5th quarterback, because it's not the debate that there will be 5. And in his Colts thing, he says, a 5th quarterback, ! I think there will be 5 quarterbacks. The only question is, I don't agree with you, Todd McShay. Colts are not drafting a quarterback. If anything, I am doubling down. Maybe it's Pat McAfee influencing my decision. I think Carson Wentz is going to be a Colt next year. I think him and Frank Wright are going to be reunited. And I think they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to either go with a weapon. They're going to go someone on the defense, maybe a cornerback. I think they go away from quarterback. Then there's the other part. He has Mac Jones as the 5th quarterback. Yeah. Maybe it's because out of all the quarterbacks, Mac Jones is the last one I'm getting to. But right now, I like Kyle Trask more than I like Mac Jones.
I think the overwhelming amount of tape on Trask might be hurting him. I think that's the situation is going, was this year a fluke? Was this just a circumstantial great year for him? And he's not actually this player who's going to put up 1 billion yards and a great touchdown interception ratio.
Jake, how about I don't like either of them?
You're totally allowed to not like either of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think out of the two, I think Trask is the more hittable quarterback prospect than Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones, maybe this is because people have called him a game manager. I think the thing with Mac Jones is his is going to be more predicated on who drafts him. If the Colts draft him, maybe that's better because that'd be a good situation for him. To where he's already got Jonathan Taylor behind him. He's got wide receivers. Pittman is looking like someone who could be special in the future years, especially if the Colts don't re-sign T.Y. Hilton and he walks for some reason. I expect them to bring T.Y. back, though.
I'd hope so. But it's tough because I think that Mac Jones has the floor. I think he's got the higher floor. It's like, worst case scenario, he's an above average. I'll say it. I'll fucking say it about him. Game manager. The title that he hates. Which I respect him for commenting on that in the first place. But I think that he's got the higher floor, and Trask looks like someone who, boom or bust. He's got that like Matty Ice. Yeah. Gotta go all the way over to the Falcons. Matty Ice to him of like, this guy can bomb the ball out. You know what? I take that back. Going to the other bird. Joe Flacco. He's got the Joe Flacco-ness. He's got the fuck it, I can throw it. But should he at all times? Question mark. I think that's who, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, because I've only watched about a game of his, and then I think I watched one game, and then I watched highlights for the rest of his games. Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't fucking love college football. Yeah. Like, unless it's big games. So, like, I watched a lot of the offensive plays of the Florida Gators for this game. Like, is there a certain quarterback you would compare Trask to versus Mac Jones style to?
I hate player comps.
I love player comps, and they're never right 100%, so don't feel like it's like the whatever.
The reason why
the
reason why I hate player comps is because, like, I will always say a player, and I immediately second guess myself of like.
You saw me right there.
Like, I second guess myself, but then again, it's like about 6 times out of 10, then I'll check like NFL. Like, there was one story time 2 drafts ago. There was a running back, and I'm like watching him. I think it was the running back from Alabama. I did the video on him. It's on our channel. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, kind of reminds me of Jerome Bettis, like the way he just runs. And I was like, but that's an old player. Like, they're not gonna fucking like comp him. And yet again, NFL comped the guy to Jerome Bettis. But like, I'm gonna take your question and answer it a different way. The thing I like about Kyle Trask, and I almost wanted to say Big Ben, and the reason why I say that is he is 6'5", 239, Mac Jones is 6'2", 214. Like, Trask is someone in the pocket I see. He stands tall. He's got a bigger body. Like, he's got a little bit of a bigger body, but it's not a fat body. He's got broader shoulders. Yeah. Like, he just looks to me like one of those big, strong quarterbacks. Like, that would be me to where it's like, yet again, like, out of all the quarterbacks, you've got Lawrence is the tallest at 6'6", but he's 220. Wilson, 6'3", 210. Fields is 6'3", 228. Lance is 6'4", 226. Jones is 6'2", 214. Kyle Trask is the second tallest at 6'5", the biggest.
But a little heavier.
Yeah, of 239. And yet again, does he maybe have to lean up, like not lean up, but maybe lift more weights in the NFL room, maybe kind of bulk up a little bit?
Yeah, you got to cut, you know?
But I mean, that's the thing I like about him is how he stands in the pocket and what he looks like.
You get a little bit of Big Ben rub off him.
I do. And that is, yet again, more on look than on just play style alone.
Okay.
And maybe that plays into the fucking big arm that we see. Like JD says, super traditional. And maybe that's why, like, I feel like he would fit in most teams and most of their schemes. It's just like, that's why I like him. I think if there's a fifth quarterback, it's him. He'll be drafted at 32. Somebody's trading up for him. The Chiefs will most likely trade that pick if a team wants him. But let's move on. I've got a couple more things here. Wide receivers. I'm going to list all the ones he has. We don't have to go over every one of them. He's got Smith at 3, Chase at 7, Waddle at 17, Bateman at 18, Elijah Moore, not Moore from Purdue, Elijah Moore from Ole Miss at 20, Olave, hope I'm saying that right, 25, and Marshall Jr. at 31. That won't happen because the Packers never draft a wide receiver. Is it weird to you that he has, 7 wide receivers in the first round? Like, to me, I looked at this and I went, maybe 5. Like,
I mean,
I'm thinking 5, but like,
I feel like last year we had a fantastic class of wide receivers, and we didn't have 7 go in the first round.
I'm a double check.
Yeah, it's because I'm trying to remember. I'm like,
because there was Jerry Jeudy, Lamb, Jeudy, Rager,
Joan Rigor.
So we had, let's see, scrolling down. So Henry Ruggs was the first at 12.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy was at 15.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb was 17.
Yep.
Jalen Rager at 21. Justin Jefferson, JJ, at 22.
Yep.
Brandon Ayuk at 25. And then just outside the first round, T. Higgins at 33. He was the first pick of the second round.
So six first rounders went to wide receivers. And how would you compare the classes? Because I think that a lot of people looking at last year's group thought that was going to be one of the most impressive wide receiver classes. And this year, you're talking about like the top 3 guys, basically. If we had a healthy, and we'll wait until the championship game because we could see a healthy game. I think the top 3 in this class might be better than the top 3 of last year's. Even.
Yeah, I mean, for me, though, it comes down to the bottom of the draft order. It doesn't even come down to the players because, I feel like for me right now, for me, I would say I like Chase number 1, Devonta Smith 2, Waddle 3, but Waddle can jump if he plays well on Monday, has a good combine and everything. I like Bateman. I think he's going to be a good deep ball threat. And then after that, because the teams that I could see going wide receiver, the Jets could at 2, but also the Jets could do it at 27 because they have the Seattle pick.
Yeah, it's very true.
I think the Eagles would be dumb. Yeah, the Eagles would be dumb not to take one. So
they better take. If they don't take one in the first round, they better take 2 by the 4th round.
Yeah, they need one. Like I did the fact of Deshaun Watson in 2 seasons has played 8 games, Dave. Last 2 seasons, and Alshon has played 17 in the last 2 seasons. And those are your top 2 wide receivers. You
said Deshaun Watson, by the way?
Deshaun Jackson. That's what I meant. Thank you.
And he's a washed-up Deshaun Jackson. I'm just going to toss that out there, too.
Yeah, I mean, had some good plays, but yet again, he has passed.
He's over the hill.
Yeah.
As far as a speed receiver.
But like I see Jets, Dolphins, Eagles, maybe the Lions, depending on if they trade up for a quarterback or not. Let's see.
Jake, as long as they don't draft
the Bears,
someone who drops the ball every other pass like Nelson Aguilar, I think they'll be okay taking a wide receiver here.
To me, it's just everyone after the Bears. I feel like the Bears are the last team we could see a wide receiver. And then after that,
he's not good. He's just less publicly hated.
What? You're talking about?
He said Nelson Aguilar is good now. And I'm like, he's not good. He's just less publicly hated.
He got better. He
did have a better quarterback down there, but whatever.
Oh, shit. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to say that name right. Beta Team for the $200 donation.
Wait, seriously?
Thank you. Yeah, we got a $200 donation. That is real. Thank you.
Is that real?
Thank you, Beta Timbre. I hope I'm saying that right. The big old 3-4.
I don't think that's real.
Fuck it. I'm gonna say thank you. It says donate for 200. Thanks. Thank you for the donation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not real.
Is it not? Okay, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
I'm going off of Jake's reaction here, but that seems very, very.
If if it's not, fucking thank you. If it's real, that's all I'm gonna say, Dave. If it's real, thank you. I will say though, Jake, wide receiver aside, the point being is after the Bears at 20, who is actually going to go wide receiver? Like, are the Colts going to go wide receiver? Are the Jets going to go Sewell? Let's say they don't trade. Do they go with the offensive tackle and go Sewell at 2? So then basically at 27, they go with wide receiver. Then at 31, the Packers, do they go with wide receiver? It's like, how many of those teams that are in the playoffs right now, that's the question. How many of them are going to go with wide receiver, Dave? That's to me where it's like, is it 5 or is it 7? Dave, I get it. We're going to move on from it. I see you with that fucking goddamn smirk. Jake's being a little asshole too. We're going to move on with the show, Dave. We're going to move on. We're not going to let it hurdle us.
Okay.
So I made a point. You weren't listening, though. That's the
not
problem.
Even a word.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the big problem. I'll reiterate for the third time now. There
are other teams you think at the back end of the draft aren't going to take wide receivers because they don't need wide receivers. So you're like, how are they going to take so many wide receivers? And my answer is, I don't give a fuck.
You were listening, okay? Like, I mean,
the words hit, but like, I don't really care about the specifics of the question because, in all honesty, it doesn't matter if they go in the first round or the second round. Those wide receivers are still at the top of their own draft class, respectively.
It just pertains to the question of, like we said,
will 7 go in the first round? No. I will put down money. You're a gambling man now, Ricky, I hear. So I will put down money. Are you willing to put down money that 7 will go in the first round?
I would take the under.
Name me the last time that 7 wide receivers went in the first round of a draft.
I would take the under.
I would also take the under.
Yeah, I would take the under on that.
That's a safe bet. I like 4, maybe 5 tops. Mm-hmm. I do not think 7.
We'll move on then, Dave. Is running backs is the next thing where I feel like Todd McShay had a spicy one here because I do think Etienne and Harris are first round running backs.
I don't know.
Etienne
running back value in the first round, Ricky.
Etienne though to the Cardinals. That to me, like Etienne to the Cardinals, Harris to the Steelers. Both of these for me were like, oh shit. Because because to me the Steelers, does that mean like if the Steelers take Najee Harris, does that mean you're giving up on basically Connor and Benny Snell, even though Connor's your number 1?
They don't want to pay. I thought that was the answer.
And with the Cardinals, would you go with ETN over what may be a way bigger need in cornerback? Because this is a team that, depending on free agency, may have 5 cornerbacks who are no longer on the roster, and one of them may be Patrick Patterson if they don't decide to pay him.
We got to wait and see on that one. Yeah. I'm hoping they decide to pay him. He deserves the dollars. But
also they do have Kenyon Drake. Like they're a team that
Kenyon Drake's good, low key good.
But ETN will be better.
ETN would be better. I don't know about first round running backs. I might be backing that unless they're transcendent talent. probably not worth a first. I think that both these guys have second round talent. I don't think either one of them is transcendent. I don't think either one of them is going to be a Christian McCaffrey level talent, a Saquon Barkley level talent. Okay. I mean, look at Zeke Elliott. Who the fuck thinks that he's a first round talent at this point? Like,
well, I mean, he was like, I'm saying, like, before this season.
2 years. He had 2 years of his career.
He had more. Where
he looked like he was 2 years of his career where he looked like a first round talent. After that, nope.
But
looking back at him, what would his worth be?
I would still say is a first. I would still say is a top 10, and the reason why is the reason that he has struggled with the Cowboys is not on himself, because like even in 2019 he was a 1,000-yard rusher.
They have the best offensive line in football for the last fucking decade. Bingo. You could put you back there and you'd average over 4 yards a carry, Ricky.
That's the point.
He walked out of the fucking backfield. That's my point. You don't need Ezekiel Elliott when you have that level of talent on the offensive line. You could get 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, I mean, yet again though, like, and this goes into, in order for running backs to be successful, you have to have a good offensive line. You have to have one that creates the holes. The thing, though, that I like
you have a transcendent talent a la Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah.
Neither of these guys are Saquon. But the thing that I find interesting that I like more about ETN is what he can do in the passing game. I like if the Cardinals made that pick, I would like it. I just don't know if I would go there. Like, to me,
I mean, their option game would be insane. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
The RPOs,
Kyler Murray,
Kyler with RPO to ETN. Good fucking. You got to cover them both. You got to tackle them both. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, and I mean Najee Harris, like,
that offense would get disgusting real quick.
The paying James Conner is like, yet again, that makes sense. Maybe I was looking at it and going like, they have Conner there, they have Snell there. I like it in the sense of he fits. Najee Harris would fit what Steeler football is all about. That black and blue, run it up the middle, tough, hard running back. The guy those are the runners that Mike Tomlin usually goes with. Even like Le'Veon did more of both. Le'Veon pass catch for 1,000 and then also ran for 1,000.
Le'Veon sure as fuck loves zone blocks out there for him. He loves to get outside and get some action. He's not a black and blue runner.
He ain't no Jerome Bettis out there.
No, he's not. So that's why I'm like, Tomlin might like it, but the offense sure as fuck loves guys who can get in space.
Yeah, I mean, Eric hit where I would put ETN right on the nail.
The Jets, eh?
I would say with the Jets, a perfect draft for them would be either Sewell to, basically their first pick is either Sewell or trading back for a wide receiver, and then taking ETN at the late, because like they're a team that doesn't have a running back. Sam Darnold needs a good running back. ETN can do it on the ground or through the air. The other two are kind of just situational, Dave. The first one is Gregory Rousseau. Todd McShay does not have him as a top 10 pick. He has him going to the Giants at 11. I saw this, and it's like, Todd McShay, I respect the hell out of you because you know your football. But
with all due respect,
if Gregory Rousseau falls that far, somebody is getting the steal of the draft. Because I feel like the only reason Rousseau would fall that far is because people would basically go recency bias. Same thing Trey Lance is facing, where Rousseau didn't play this year because of COVID.
Correct.
And that's going to be a unique thing for this year, where even Micah Parsons didn't play. And you had like Penny Sewell didn't play, even though Sewell is probably going to be a top 3 pick.
Yeah, that man ain't budging a fucking inch.
When you're a top 3 when you're the top offensive tackle and you're that good, you don't need to fucking play. That
position is money.
I just look at it and I go, you're the top pass rusher in the class. You played well in 2019.
What is the knock on him? Like, did he write in his write-up? Is there any mention of why he's fallen, or is it just like, I'm on a run with exposition, that's why I don't think that he'll be taking that high?
I'm gonna assume, in my brain, I think quarterbacks will fuck it up. Yet again, who trades up for the quarterbacks?
3 QBs in the top 10? Is that your prediction? I don't want to spoil your mock, but
yeah, I would say it. Like Trey Lance, like it's gonna be Lawrence, Wilson, and Fields are the top 3 on the big board. They're the tier 1.
Yep.
Lance is tier 2 only because he only played the one showcase game. And then tier 2 with Lance or tier 3 is Trask and Mac Jones. And then the rest of the pool.
In the top 10, I mean, we got potentially 3 quarterbacks going, a top tight end going, a couple of offensive linemen, maybe 2 wide receivers. That's a very, very offensive heavy bunching of talent at the top of the draft.
The only thing he mentions that is not like a lot of it is specific to the Giants taking a pass rusher, which I don't give a shit here to answer your question. But he does say Russo opted out of this season, but he had 15 and a half sacks in 2019 and has the speed and power coming around the corner. I just see that and I go, any team, like if the Falcons aren't going quarterback, like if they're not sitting at 4 going, hey, we need to take Fields or hey, we need to take Wilson, they would be straight stupid to not take Russo.
That's actually a great question. If they're both on the board, what do you value more for those teams?
I think for the Falcons, I would lean quarterback only because I feel like Matt Ryan's time is done. I think a new GM's going to come in and almost clean house, per se. I think Julio's gone. I think Matt Ryan's gone. I think they're just going to basically move on. But like the Bengals, too. They're a team where he has Rashawn Slater, good offensive tackle from Northwestern, who's been rising late in the season. But yet again, the Bengals are also a team, and I've had conversations with JD about this, where if they don't get Penny Sewell, do you necessarily have to go tackle this high? Because the tackle depth in the second and third round, tackle and wide receiver, I'm seeing the same thing, where there's some depth later in rounds 2 and 3 to where you can try to trade up in the second or trade up in the third to try to get a tackle and maybe go with a defenseman here, because the Bengals could go cornerback with Surtain, who's obviously the number 1 pick for cornerbacks, Parsons, Rousseau, or offensive tackle. I would take Rousseau over an offensive tackle. And then yet again, the Eagles wide receiver to me. The Lions could take a quarterback. So like that's the thing that fucks Rousseau to where I feel like he should be a top 5 pick or at least top 10.
Okay.
But he's going to be he could fall out of the top 10.
Jake saying high bust potential. What's the concern?
That he didn't play this year. That's what I would say. Is that we did like
Jake, if you when you catch up, can you just drop in chat what's the outside of him not playing this year? Is there the concern that he regressed or he just had a pop off year because who he's playing next to?
Well, like Jake says, he has a very, very, very low floor. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like high bust is very low floor. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Very, very low. Yeah, Rousseau. Yep.
I would assume it's just like you don't if you don't think he's going to live up to his potential, but I do. He is someone.
It's funny because you mentioned Sewell didn't play, but there was no way he was dropping. Trevor Lawrence could have not played this year. There was no chance he was going to drop out of the number 1.
Yeah,
I figured Rousseau being a top 5 prospect from last year would have been in a similar case, and yet we got him going. And to be fair, Chase, right, technically was not going to play.
Yes,
for a good chunk.
He didn't play either.
Yeah. So, iffy on Rousseau from JD, now taking a tackle at 5 other than Sewell. Need Pitts, Chase, maybe Rousseau, maybe Surtain.
And then Jake, all of his strengths are built straight out of his body and athleticism. His handwork and feet work is rough, and it seems like he relies on his body a lot.
Athletic beast, but he needs to be refined. You need to kind of sculpt the game into something.
So it's basically and yet again, it's the entire, you're going against grown men, not boys. Like the whole thing of what we see with a lot of them. To where with me, maybe I overlooked that question because it's of course in the NFL you're gonna beef up, you're gonna that's the thing. As a pass rusher, the guys that have the strength to just bully through, Rousseau, then it's gonna be dependent on if your strength and athleticism can't do it alone. Are you going to develop different moves to get to the quarterback?
Yeah, and as long as you seem coachable, I mean, that's why you always like the raw guys. As long as their coach extremely positive about them, those are the guys you love to work with. Those are the guys who hey, they're working to get better, but they're just so raw right now. But they're having that high level of success even with that. That's what I get excited about, that kind of player, Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. Yes, Parsons, it's one of those things where there's also the debate of Parsons to Rousseau. But, for me, Parsons isn't a bona fide, he's an edge rusher. That's all he does. He's more of, Jake has even said, more of a zone linebacker where Rousseau get after the quarterback.
He just one speed.
Yeah. The last thing with the draft is just the Eagles. I thought this was kind of asinine from, I say asinine because the player that the Eagles are getting in Micah Parsons is a really good prospect. But I look at the Eagles and I go, they are a team that I am yet again, if fucking on his draft, Chase is still on the board. Even Pitts is still on the board, although I would take the wide receiver. Fuck, even Jalen Waddle's on the board because he could rise. If I'm the Eagles, Dave, I don't care if Parsons is there. I'm taking a wide receiver.
Unless you have a handshake deal.
Unless you get Allen Robinson.
That's what I was going to say, free agencies before.
Yeah.
Love football for that.
I think it's better that way, to be honest with you.
There are ups and downs to it. But unless you have already signed Allen Robinson, I don't know how you can not take a wide receiver off the bat because it is clearly your biggest issue this season. They're going to get back 2 offensive linemen who got hurt this year, so they should be good. Maybe there's still a need there, but Parsons, good player, no doubt in my mind. He's a top 10 talent.
Yeah.
But you have to address wide receiver if you expect anything to happen going forward, because I think they're also going to end up probably losing Ertz too, right?
See,
I heard he's gone.
Here's the thing, and Kyle Pitts would be the bona fide starter there. But the debate I had in my mind is, would you rather have someone like Chase or Waddle boost up that wide receiver core? Yeah. And basically they have Dallas Goedert at tight end.
Yeah, Goddard's not bad.
Yeah, but he's not Kyle Pitts.
I think Pitts is better than him, no doubt.
He's not Kyle Pitts.
But I agree. I'm taking whichever wide receiver's highest on my board. If I'm the Eagles, I cannot pass up on a top wide receiver in this class. Can't do it, won't do it.
And Jake,
would you trade back if you were them though? If you were, okay,
I'm taking the best wide receiver.
Just to flatten. No,
because here's the thing. I yet again with wide receiver tiers. It's Smith, Chase, and Waddle.
Yeah,
and then there's a gap. Those are the top 3 in the class. And I know Jake says you take Chase or Smith. The only reason I'm leaving Smith off is Todd McShay had Smith going at number 3, so he wasn't there. It would basically be Micah Parsons would probably be BPA. Chase would be right there, also with BPA and need. But you also have Pitts and Waddle there too. Oh, fuck off, Jake. That's not being dumb. The Dolphins need a wide receiver. I actually like that pick. With the Dolphins going with a wide receiver, and I can talk to you that way because we have a solid relationship. But yeah, that's just I can't wait for mine to come out. I loved doing the mock draft. I can't wait to see how free agents go. Well, the feedback will be interesting. It always is, Dave. Can't wait to do the next one after the entire 32. Order is done because I'll do one the night after the Super Bowl. Jake, he had Fields at 15, but like you said, someone will probably trade up for him because he didn't do trades in his mock. But Dave, we'll move on. We'll go into before we make our picks to end the show. We will go into the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys, the players of the day from the game prior, or the player of the game from the day prior. Dave usually gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then patrons at the silver and above level give a wet boy as well. So if you want to get on the action, patreon.com/MVPvids. Dave, I will kick it off to you. Who's your wet boy? January 8th, 2021.
I'm taking an oldie but a goodie here. Someone who does not get love, mostly because of the team that they play on, but also low-key player. LaMarcus Aldridge, someone who has been in the league for a long-ass time. Dude is 35. Still rocking out. Fantastic game. And something that doesn't get talked about enough. I believe the Spurs are actually... let me just quick double check. They are 4-1 with him, and 0-3 without him.
Okay.
They are a different team with him, and I think he's someone who, like, everybody talks about how LeBron continually got better as he aged, and like it's crazy how good he is at such an advanced age. LaMarcus Aldridge,
right up there,
and he has one of the best mid-rangers in all of NBA history. Doesn't get talked about. He's such a great scorer, good rebounder, and he knows his game. He knows how to play within his role, and he knows, like, they constantly berated him with questions about, like, why aren't you moving out to the three-point line more, like, as the game evolves. And he's like, I'm most efficient from here. I can get rebounds better if I work the mid-range. Like, it fits our team better when we space. So I really respect LaMarcus Aldridge. I do wonder,
has a near and dear connection to our hearts, Dave, because of a certain special reason.
He was our OG.
He was the first fast break
topic of the fast break.
Bringing Dave out of the hermit hole because Dave was cast away. Unseen from society. Hair was shorter for some reason. It should have been opposite.
I did not ever have long hair. This is
I know.
weird.
That's the thing. But that was the first episode Dave and I ever did. LaMarcus Aldridge.
Spurs playoff team, babe. What the fuck? Like, we thought DeRozan Aldridge shipped out of town by mid-year. Don't even think about it. This is a team ready for a tank. Aldridge, great game. DeRozan, great season. DeJounte Murray, fantastic season. Keldon Johnson getting back with it. Devin Vassell, looking clean. Like, this is a very good team. It's weird. I don't know what to make of this shit, Ricky.
I mean,
we'll talk about another day, but like,
this whole
good
season,
on you, Spurs.
This whole season, it's like, are teams good, or is it just they had more rest than everyone else? Dave, I'm calling an audible for my wet boy.
Yeah.
A difference than what I told you.
You're doing it.
Because my honorable mention, I will say, is Kofi Cockburn. The Illini were down to Northwestern by a lot. I was swearing, fuck Northwestern, because I'm sorry if you went to Northwestern. I hate Northwestern because I'm an Illini fan. But Kofi Cockburn finished with about 18 and 11, I want to say, which was about, I want to say, like 5 rebounds and 7 points more than the entire Northwestern team in the second half. So he outscored their entire team, and he out-rebounded their entire team. But, Dave, there is a player more worthy.
They did only score 13 points in the second half. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get upset by them, and we fucking dumpstered them. My favorite tweet was, I can't remember who it was, but I retweeted it, said, whatever Brad Underwood said to that team in the locker room needs to be my morning alarm. To kind of motivation to get me out of bed in the morning. But I'm going with a misty miss. I'm going with Naz Hillman, Dave. 35 points, 22 rebounds. Ridiculous. Right there. 35 and 22 in a 2-point win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
That's awesome. That is honestly, like, that's an awesome stat line. I'm happy for the win. I'm happy for the close victory. But that stat line is nuts. Like, we don't see 30-20s, like, ever.
Especially
that's such a cool combo. Like, so, mad respect to Naz.
I mean, I also love the Naz because it makes me think of Naz Reid, Sean's boy. Also, she rocks the 00, Dave, so you got to throw love to the dub zero. And, Dave, the patrons, they're going with you, boy. They're going with the boy. You were like, hey, I want to go him, unless the patrons went him. So, basically, Dave gets 2 wet boys today.
For those who don't know, I predict wet boys on a pretty daily basis. I'm like, so the patrons are going to pick this guy or this guy. I'll take whichever one they don't take. Ricky's going to take Ayo Sumo, maybe Steph Curry.
Jake yesterday was like, dude, why didn't you give one to Kobe White? And I was like, fuck, I could have. But Luka Doncic getting the wet boy.
Yeah, he gets the wet boy. He gets the victory. He gets the OT clutchness. Turns out the Mavericks, pretty okay team. He's the better European. Proved it over Jokic. No complaints there. I mean, this team.
Sean may argue with you on that one just a little bit.
He can argue all he wants. I don't think he would argue. I think he knows what Luka is and isn't. And Luka came up big when it counted. That was the thing. Like, he had a great fourth quarter. So credit to the Mavericks. I can't wait to see what happens when KP returns. Very excited.
Yeah, this Mavs team, yet again, they are doing what they're doing without KP out there. And also, they have a loss to the Bulls, Dave, but Luka wasn't playing that game. So
maybe we took on Jalen Brunson.
Dude, 31 in that game. I was like, an aside before NFL to close the show is I hate when kids do that. When it's like, I'm a Chicago kid, I'm going to fucking ball out this game. It's like, could you not, please? Could you not, please?
I'd really love it if you didn't.
Yeah, I would really love it if you didn't do that against my Bulls right now.
Shout out to the B Team Nets for beating the Sixers.
Nice.
How does it feel to lose to a bench unit? That's got to be fucking embarrassing. I thought you were the best team in basketball, Jake. You lost to the bench of the Nets.
Jake, okay, good night. Jake is out. But, Dave, let's finish up the show. So we kind of gave these picks on Monday with our full picks. But, yet again, things have changed. A little bit more in depth on the games. We had 6 wildcard games going this weekend. Of the first, we'll do the Saturdays. Then we'll do the Sundays. Wrap this shindig up. The first one, Colts and the Bills, Dave. This one's an interesting one, betting-wise, because most of the time, Dave, in Wild Card Weekend, the team that you pick the win, the team that wins the game also covers the spread. Bills are -6.5 against the Colts. This one's a tricky one for me because the Bills are red hot. They are one of those teams where... I heard Lombardi today on Hamadan say it, where you usually go with teams that are red hot the last 3 weeks of the season.
Absolutely.
He called back to his Patriot team that he was an executive with, where they were red hot. Then against Baltimore in the divisional round, they kind of cooled off because they had that bye week in between. And they had to come back. That was the one they had to come back down 2 touchdowns.
I was ready to drop the 2. I was like, there's one. Here comes 2. And you're like, oh, no, not quite.
2. The Bills don't have that problem being the 2nd seed, though, because no bye week. Like, this Bills team, I am riding with them again. Like, they're my pick in the AFC. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But they could be the team that carries so much momentum from the season in. Yeah. However, this Colts defense is tough. And if they're able to get the run going with Jonathan Taylor against this kind of weaker Bills defense, the Colts maybe could surprise people and ruin my Super Bowl pick. Well, my AFC pick.
I think the Colts are in for a little bit of trouble here. Mm-hmm. I think both you and I did pick against them, so not a shocker here. In our early predictions video, obviously things have changed since then, Ricky, as we will find out later, but I'm still confident in the Bills. I think this matchup favors the Bills. I think the weather favors the Bills. They're playing outdoors, so of course. Colts, a dome team. They do have a retractable, but still not quite the same. Mm-hmm. Cold game. We heard how Mr. Phillip Rivers does not excel in cold games. So late season, cold game, Phillip Rivers, hot Bills team. It spells Bills victory.
Let's see. I got the fucking stat here because I looked it up from Bubba Gumpino on Pat McAfee, because he's awesome on his fucking stats. His was, I think it was Phillip Rivers he's 5-0 against the spread wild card weekend. However, like you said, he's 1-5 in cold weather games. Yeah, it is Phillip Rivers 4-0 on wild card weekend and 5-2 against the spread on the road in the playoffs. However, Phillip Rivers 1-5 all time when playing in temps 32 believes.
I believe that one more than the conditional playoff rules that we had in the past.
Yeah, so we'll see what Phillip Rivers. I'm going with the Bills, though. They're going to get the win. They're going to be the red hot team in the AFC. Dave, then the other game where people are saying kind of hard to pick. Not me, because Goff may play, Goff may get pulled, Goff may not even play. Nonetheless, Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks -3. Dave, this Seahawk team, Russ is going to, even though the Rams defense is tough, I think Russ cooks. They win by more than 3 points. Yeah. And the Rams don't win. If Goff plays, it's for a little bit. He gets pulled. I think Wofford.
I think Russ cooks. I think they win by more than 3 points. I think Wait, do you say
the Rams?
You said both. Yeah, you said both those things. You're like, I think the Rams don't win. And I'm like, well, the first 2 points would definitely mean that they don't win. But I'm glad you clarified. You brought that full circle.
But Goff, I think, if he does play, he doesn't play long. The backup is in.
I picked the Seahawks outright. I said it was going to be a very close game. I think the 3-point line is just about right. I would not take a bet on that line. But I do like the Seahawks to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one where I don't know if I would bet on that one, but I'm confident picking the Seahawks to win.
Yeah, see, that's one of those games where you got to look at the individual prop bets for the players. Like, is Russ throwing for over 300 yards, whatever the number they've got for him? I'd look into that kind of a game.
I'll tell you this. In the Bills game that we talked about, it's a prop bet I would take on that from FanDuel is over 301.5 yards for Josh Allen. He's going to go, basically he's going to go 302 and above in passing yards because he's been over that in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And this is
good, but
they are, but fucking Diggs out there, this team's going to cook.
Well, Diggs, again, he was sore.
He's going to play.
He'll play, but he was sore. So the question is, will he be out there if it turns into a blowout of a game?
Good point.
Or if it gets into a shootout range.
Good point.
Obviously, he's going to play.
Just give it to Brown then. Give it to whoever's out there.
Diggs sideline touchdown. Jake, feels like you've seen that call before.
Yeah, you like that one, right? You like that? You like that? You like that, Jakey boy? The last one on Saturday, though, Dave, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, first time he is playing on Wild Card Weekend in his career, by the way. That was a fun stat. Going up against the 7-9, the not even a winning record Washington football team led by Alex Smith. Bucks are -8 on this one, Dave. This one's not even close. Tampa Bay, yes, this Washington defense is good. Chase Young is good, but Tampa is going to cook. That's my new phrase of the day, cook. And Tom Brady wins. It's just by how big. Is this a blowout or is this like a 10-point game?
Somehow a 10-point game is not a blowout.
10-point will be close. If Washington only loses by 10, I'm shocked.
If Tampa Bay only wins by 10,
because that means it's a closer spread battle than you thought.
I think that Alex deserves a fucking medal. He's had a hell of a 2-year period. That man deserves something special for all the shit he's won, been through, dealt with, survived. I'm taking the Bucks as one too. They're just a better football team, top to bottom. But I do wonder. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna knock on wood. What if Chase Young does get to Tom Brady? What if it's ugly?
I mean, that's the thing. Do you think that'll happen? Because I do like Chase Young, but yet again, I do think that Tom Brady has the weapons.
Somebody called out Tom Brady on social media.
Do you think that helps the opponent or that helps Tom Brady? Because Tom Brady's going to step up and say, "Sit down, young gun," or "Sit down, young blood."
Ricky, does Tom Brady need to win the game?
Dude, he's got the most pressure on him to win a Super Bowl.
On him to win the game?
Most pressure to win a Super Bowl. I said that, Dave. More pressure than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers cooler than a cucumber in that green Packer.
He could have the most pressure on him, some would say, in all of the playoffs this year. He has to prove something because he's the best player to ever fucking play the sport somehow. He still has more to prove.
Jake says Brady 354
exactly,
touchdowns.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, we're both in agreement. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers win. The Sunday games, though, Dave. This is I said the Colts Bills one, or actually the Rams Seahawks was tough for most people. This game, first game on Sunday, is the toughest for me. Because I'm sticking with my pick of the Ravens for our Super Bowl pick. Okay. Yeah. Because to me, it doesn't fucking matter. However, as a new betting man and actually putting money on the games, Dave, this is a game I want to same team parlay with the Tennessee Titans. I'd bet them to get the win. I would bet them then to cover the spread because it's -3 to the Ravens, +3 for the Titans. And this is a game that I think that could go so either way.
Yep.
but there's a good chance in my mind that the Titans get the win. So I'm a little contradictory where in the playoff predictions, I'll say Ravens get the win to keep with that. But there is part of me leading into Sunday that I'm like, the Titans in this one, the Titans winning and then covering the spread, because if they win, they would have to cover the spread. And then like a prop bet where it's like, there was one with Derrick Henry that I looked at, and I was like, he's going to get way over whatever the line was for his rushing yards. And yet again,
have to work on condensing your betting talk down, Rick.
I know it's getting.
I feel a little lost. It's a little murky.
I'll put it I'll put it this way.
You're picking the Ravens, but you would say betting man.
Yeah, as a betting man, I'm going Titans to win, cover the spread, and the prop on Derrick Henry's rushing yards, because if they're going to win, he's going to have a big game.
I'm not complicated. I'm just saying that who did I fucking pick in this game? I don't even know.
I'll pull it up, Dave.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Did I say the Ravens?
I don't know.
I feel like I said the Ravens. I think I picked the Ravens, maybe. Maybe. This is a very toss-up game. That's what this tells you. Is I can't remember my pick from Monday or Tuesday.
Is that it? I don't know. Here, let me see.
That was.
So Dave 3.
Bills.
That is yours. So you said Ravens.
Yep. So I did pick the Ravens there, and I will keep the Ravens because reasons.
Because like this is one where these two teams played before.
Yeah.
The Titans got a narrow victory. I want to say it was in overtime. However, as our comment section from Monday said, the Ravens are getting 2 defensive players back, one being Calais Campbell. So that may help them. However, that game was in Baltimore. This one's in Tennessee. So maybe that changes things.
Tannehill is a scary combo. I will never underestimate that. But this Ravens team seems to have found a new rejuvenating factor to them as the season went on. So I want to ride with them.
And that's why I'm picking the Ravens. But as a betting man, if you're like, hey, I can throw $5, $10 on a team, I would maybe just for the hell of it 3-team parlay with 3-bet parlay for the Titans in order to get some money in case it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Bears Saints, Dave. This is one where I'm going with my pick. The Bears are going to win, and they're going to cover because now while the line has moved, Dave, it was at 9.5.
Yeah.
Minus 9.5 for the Saints. Now it's minus 10. So they're giving the Bears now another half a point in order to try to cover. I'm going to say it. Bears win, Bears cover. That's it. Bears win. I'm doubling down on my pick. Bears with the win. Defense does enough. Drew Brees can't throw the ball down the field like he couldn't in the first game. I'm going to say Maserati Mitch has 1 turnover the entire game. I say Montgomery gets a little cooking. Alvin Kamara gives the Bears a scare. Bears win by a field goal.
I have to pick the Bears, Ricky. You don't have to pick the Bears. It's okay.
I'm going with the Bears. Stop, Bears.
By the rule of Mark Webber, dub that means I have to take the Bears in this situation. Doesn't mean I like it. Doesn't mean I think they'll win, but I have to do it.
He's like, Ricky, you have to pick the Saints because when we pick the same thing, when it comes to the Saints.
He just got a guaranteed victory for the Saints right there. I hope you're happy.
But he didn't because his team's trash in the first game of the playoffs. History repeats itself.
We'll see.
And especially...
We're going to watch that game on Watch Along, probably. We'll be in Discord. If you guys want to check that out and join us.
Are we going to watch it on Nickelodeon, Dave?
I wonder who's doing the casting on Nickelodeon.
Did you hear about that? How the game...
Oh, I know. They're on 11 channels, yeah.
That game is on the normal channel, Nickelodeon, and Amazon.
I'm going to be on the one where Mina Kimes is there.
Okay. Mina Kimes is cool. Yeah.
That's my girl.
And Dave, the last game that we're picking, this is the one where I'm having an old switcheroo from Monday. Browns Steelers. Steelers are -6 favorites, or -6, sorry. -6 favorites.
Yeah, it's
I got a question with this one, and I heard this through Pat McAfee, and I was like, oh, shit, this would be totally doable, but yet again, the league won't do it. There is a movement out there to get it to where since no fans are at the stadium...
No.
What?
No, it's not happening. No, it's not happening.
What are you talking about?
There's no coach going to a stadium.
That's what I was saying. Like they were saying, if they were able to quarantine him for the car ride and sneak him in the back, put him in a booth that is completely blocked off, having Stefanski call plays from the booth.
No, instead that is the movement. Who has a certain belief, publicly stated, that a lot of people would have a problem with if they remembered that it happened.
Go check Tuesday's show, I think it was.
Yeah.
Tuesday show for that one. But Browns Steelers, this is one where I originally said the Browns, then the COVID news came out, and I quickly flipped my stance on this one. Steelers with the win. Like, Steelers are a team I'm not even excited for. I think they are the weakest top seed of the top three coming in. They are the definition of one and done, where they will get a win and then lose to the Bills next week.
Nah. I mean, they are going to lose to the Bills next week, but they will win this game, and I believe in them to win this game. Ben Roethlisberger will drag this team to another victory. Choo-choo gonna dance.
But Dave, the rule of Baker. If you lose to Baker, you're a bad team.
And?
The Steelers lost to
But?
No matter who was out there, you lost to Baker.
It does matter. Who was the quarterback, Ricky? Who was the quarterback of that game?
It was Mason Rudolph, but...
It was Mason fucking Rudolph!
But we never said there were exceptions to the rule of Baker.
There are exceptions and stipulations. I will asterisk the shit out of the rule of Baker Mayfield.
So if we make a rule of Baker shirt, we got to put an asterisk by it?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Oh, it's a bad team, unless otherwise stated by Dave Oster. That's what it says at the bottom.
If they decide that they're actually trying to win a football game, then they might be a fair matchup. But when they're intentionally not playing players who are good at football, so they can not have to play players who are good at football, I'm not going to count that as a fucking rule of Baker game.
Yeah, good point. But that's going to do it for the show. Great fucking way to end the week, Dave. It was a little contesty at the front talking about wine tastings before the show. We had a elusive ghost bid in there that yet again we just got to shut down the comments for you, Dave. Like, shut down Twitch chat.
I can't not look. I'm always
after that, it was like Dave's gone. Dave's lost. He's just worried about whatever Jake's saying in Twitch chat.
Following very closely. I care.
Remember, go ahead and join the Discord if you haven't already. Great times to be had. Discord link down below, !Discord into Twitch chat. If you want to support our dumbasses, patreon.com/MVPvids. Thank you to all our patrons, but especially our Patreon producer, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports, so go ahead, make sure you're tuned in to us at all places. That's going to do it for us. We will see you on Monday. Let's hope it's a good week of football games. And as always, have a good day, everybody.